Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Edwards, and I am the Director of Health Promotion and Wellness at the University of Chicago. And I'd like to thank you for joining me today as we practice observing and labeling our emotions in our meditation today. What I'd like to do first is just explain a little bit about this meditation and why it's so important. We all have emotional experiences that can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming. And most of us, whether consciously or unconsciously, would like meditation to be some type of chill out session where we don't have to relate to unpleasantness that we might be experiencing. And actually, a lot of people have the misunderstanding that this is what meditation is about. They believe that meditation includes everything except that which feels bad. And if something does feel bad, many times people will label it as thinking and then just shove it away. When we meditate, we need to understand how to work with thoughts and emotions. Emotions are a part of life, but what are they exactly? According to one definition, they are the contents of the mind, like thoughts, and they aren't two separate things, but both are produced by mental activity. You could think of thoughts as being the concepts and the ideas that are used to label things and make them somehow more manageable. For example, you can look outside and see a tree, for instance, and your mind thinks tree. In your mind, it could be a tree in general, or you could more specifically say it's a beautiful oak tree. But the thought is not the tree itself, it's just a label or a name. The thing you're looking at has become reduced to a word, a concept, or tree. If you open your eyes and really look at it, what you perceive is much more than a label. Concepts and labels are how we turn the magic of the world into something our minds can conveniently grasp, name, and actually refer to. You might think of emotion as being like a color, tone, or energy that's added to the concept. So emotions being added to our thoughts and our minds. They're elaboration that adds energy to the thought. Many times we may suppress our emotions because they are unpleasant. What we will do today is actually practice sitting with our emotions, recognizing them, and understanding that they are not permanent and they do not define who we are. So just as we learned on Monday this past week, we talked about labeling thinking. And in the event you did not join for that, the video is recorded and available on our channel. But we noticed our thoughts and we actually would give a label to our thoughts. We're going to do the same today, where I would like to ask you to identify something you may be feeling, and then label the feeling and just notice it and how your body feels as it may arise. The process of labeling a feeling gives us a little distance from the sensation. It helps remind us that we are not our feelings. Rather, they're just phenomena that arise, they change and end, just like everything else in the world. For example, you may notice feeling very nervous or anxious while you're meditating. This feeling is usually accompanied by a lot of repetitive worry thoughts. So you may use the labels worrying or anxious to help strengthen your observing mind, allowing yourself to be aware of your thoughts and your feelings, but just allowing them to slowly flow by or just to gently release them so that you're not getting caught up in them. Maybe this practice will help you to feel a bit curious about the feeling and how it changes within your body, rather than fighting it or trying to force it to go away. And perhaps you can actually gain enough distance from it so that you may relax into this present moment experience that we'll go through today, allowing the feeling to just be there rather than struggling to change it or to end it in this moment. And so I'd like to just ask you all to keep an open mind today as I lead you through this meditation. And we'll just practice now labeling and feeling our emotions throughout the meditation. So I'd like to ask you to just get into a comfortable position, whether sitting or lying down. And if you're comfortable, feel free to close your eyes and just bring awareness to where you feel your breath the most in your body. Maybe you feel it in your nose or your mouth, possibly your chest or your abdomen. Just try to bring your attention into this moment today that we have together. Noting how your body feels as you take a slow, gentle inhale. And deeply exhale, releasing any tension you may feel. We'll turn our attention to something that is troubling you, something that's not the way that you want it to be. Until you've had experience with this process, it's best to choose something that's not huge, something that has enough change or charge that you have a definite reaction to it, but not the biggest thing in your life. I'd like you to focus on that in this moment. Just settle on how you feel in this moment. Maybe it's a physical condition, health problem, a relationship issue, a misunderstanding, or a setback. It could just be something like an inconsiderate neighbor or coworker, or something you don't like about yourself. Take your time. There's no wrong choice. Whatever you choose is going to be right for this meditation today. Just let yourself get a sense of what you choose to work on. You can just pick one item if you'd like, but just make sure it's not the biggest so that you can settle in and just sit with the feeling and the emotion in this moment. Once you've found a situation or an issue, see if you can identify the feeling or the emotion about this situation. Just settle on that for a moment. Is it anger, fear, sadness, confusion, impatience? What would you call it? For example, if it was anger, rather than saying I'm angry or I'm frustrated or I'm sad about something, see how it feels to say, I'm noticing something in me that is this way, that is angry or afraid or sad. I'm noticing something in me that has this feeling. Just see how it feels to say it that way. And allow yourself to just sit with that emotion. This gives the feeling more room to move, and you won't identify it with as much. This way you're not labeling yourself as angry or fearful. You're merely aware that you have those feelings right now. And as you say this, something in me is annoyed or angry or confused, whichever best describes your feeling. See if you notice where your physical reaction to this may be. It might be the tightening in your chest or your shoulders, queasiness in your stomach, pressure or tension, or some sort of ache, constriction, tension, whether in your body, in your jaw. Just try to recognize that and just become aware of it and just sit with that feeling in this moment. See where it affects you physically. And if you can't find a specific place, that's completely fine. It might be just a general sense of unease that you feel, tensing or readiness of your arms, as if you're going to protect yourself or someone else. Or maybe some tightness in your legs. Just sit in this moment with these feelings. Try to label them and gently release them. Just notice what you're feeling, simply acknowledging it, letting your awareness gently rest there, allowing it to be just the way it is, without demanding that it be different in this moment. With difficult emotions or sensations, it's normal to want to move away from them, wanting to push them away. So without trying to soften them directly, see if you can soften your reaction to them. You may not like what you're feeling, but is it possible to accept that this is what you're feeling right now and it's okay? See if you can give yourself permission to actually feel this, allowing it to be there with kindness and gentleness, recognizing that accepting something that is present does not mean that you like it. It just is what it is in this moment. This is softening and allowing. Softening of your reaction to the feeling that you're having. Allowing that reaction to be there. And allowing the feeling to be there. If it's possible for you, see if you can soften your reaction to the difficulty, to this situation, with gentle breaths. Seeing if you can be with it the same way that you be with a child or a pet. someone you love and who is in distress. If that were the case, you would do this with tenderness, with gentleness. You wouldn't demand that your loved one respond any differently than they are. Allow yourself to sit with that feeling in this moment. If you like, you may even place your hand where in your body you're physically feeling the difficulty the most, whether on your heart or your abdomen. Meeting this experience with kindness, recognizing this would be difficult or painful or challenging for anybody. Holding it and yourself gently and with kindness. I recommend you take time with this right now and just sit with your feelings and your emotions. There's no rush. As you do this, you may feel sensations and feelings coming and going. And noticing, if you pay close attention, there may even be movement or change from moment to moment, perhaps a tightening or a loosening. You may notice heat, waves of energy, images, or even impressions that may emerge. Through all of this, just see if you can bring a sense of kindness, curiosity, and compassion to your exploration. Spend enough time here to make contact with what you're noticing and what you're feeling, but not so much that you become overwhelmed. Just try to recognize the feeling or the emotion and provide it with a label. Just try to sense where you feel it most in your body, becoming aware of the reaction, not trying to change anything in this moment. When you try this on your own, and as you do this on your own, or any time during this meditation, if you do start feeling overwhelmed, you can always return to your breath, or simply sense the physical support you have from the chair, the bed, or the floor. If you need to, you may always pause or stop the meditation and open your eyes, or just adjust yourself before you move on. What are you feeling right now? Do you have a label that you can affix to it? Do so gently and with no judgment, and slowly come back to your breath. Just continue trying to practice labeling your feelings, noticing where your mind is now, allowing yourself to just accept thoughts and feelings just as they are, just letting them pass through your mind without clinging to them or judging them. What I'd like to ask you to do is just slowly bring your awareness and your attention back to your breath in this moment, and just where you feel it most in your body. Bring your attention to how your body feels in the chair, on your bed, or floor, wherever you may be sitting or lying down. Just recognize and be aware of those sensations. And we'll just slowly and gently open your eyes as you come back to this room in this moment. We'll labeling emotions can sometimes be a bit challenging as far as a meditation in general, especially if today, as you're joining, that it's something new that you have not tried and it's a new meditation. What I recommend is just trying to be aware of thoughts and emotions as they come to mind, but don't let them overtake you. We use many times the analogy of a river and that the water is always flowing. The same holds true for different thoughts and emotions that we may have, but they aren't constant. They will be something, or I shouldn't say they're not static. It's not something that will stay consistently. They can ebb and flow, just as our thoughts and our emotions can. They don't define who we are. And sometimes it's challenging because when we're caught up in thoughts and emotions, depending on a situation we may be in, it can be challenging to deal with at times. And so I hope that you found this meditation useful as you think about just sitting with our emotions, understanding where they're impacting us in our bodies, and just learning how we can label them and sit with them and recognize that there's a sense of detachment, that they are there, but we can also be here present and just allowing them to flow by as the river does as well. If there are any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box. You can also always put them after the live session, just in our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or would like further information, I'm happy to share that with you. But I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.